Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my first NFL mock draft with picks 11 through 20. I've already completed picks 1 through 10, so be sure to check that out. And very shortly, I'll be posting picks 21 through 32 as well. Let's get started with pick 11. Pick 11. San Diego Chargers will be on the clock at pick 11. San Diego has a lot of holes, most notably on the offensive line. I think they used this pick, the first pick of the Mike McCoy era, to solidify that offensive line. And I see them going the way of Eric Fisher, a left tackle out of Central Michigan. A lot of people are going to compare him to Joe Staley, who came out of the same college program, a little bit raw as Fisher is. I think it's a good comparison, and I think he's well worth the small amount of risk he is here at pick number 11 for the Chargers. Pick number 12, the Dolphins. I see them going the way of Ezekiel Ansah, the defensive end from BYU. I think one of the Dolphins' major needs is another pass rusher or defensive lineman to go along with Cameron Wake. And Ansah is the last one of these top-flight defensive end, outside linebacker type players, pass rushers, that are going to be left here at pick 12. He's the best. After him, there's a pretty significant drop-off. So I look for the Dolphins to jump on Ansah at pick 12. Ansah, of course, from BYU. At 13, the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers picked Mark Barrett in the first round last year. They still had some problems in the secondary this year. They're involved in several shootout-type games, most notably games against the Giants and the Saints. I think this is still an area of need for the Buccaneers. They spent a lot of money on offense last year in free agency. I look for them to focus once again in the first round of the draft, look to replace Aqib Talib, who they traded, and take Millner, also from Alabama, like his old Tide teammate Mark Barron. I think they team up once again in the Buccaneers secondary. I like the Buccaneers to take Millner with the 13th pick in the draft. At 14, the Carolina Panthers will pick. Look, the Panthers have had a gaping hole in the middle of their defensive line for years now. And it's time for Ron Rivera and the Panthers to address that, which is why I see them taking Jesse Williams, the defensive tackle from Alabama. Jesse Williams, if you've watched Alabama in the last 2 or 3 years, you know he's a difference maker. And couple that also with the fact that he's a mammoth of a man, to put it mildly. And I think he'll solve a lot of the ills that they have in the middle of their defensive line. So look for the Aussie, Jesse Williams, to go 14 to the Carolina Panthers. 15 will be the Saints. The Saints are a team also that need help on the defensive line. Will Smith will be a guy who they probably not retain. He's been a longtime member of the Saints. I think defensive end is their biggest need. But I think with all the top-flight defensive ends, as I mentioned before, being taken 12 or lower, I think they lose out here. I think they'll have to address that need via free agency. I think they can take in this spot, though, a defensive tackle in Sheldon Richardson out of Missouri. Richardson's a guy and if you haven't heard of him yet, wait till the combine and the next couple of weeks. He's going to be a guy that's going to shoot up the draft board. He has very good measurables, very quick for a defensive lineman, very strong. So look for him to sort of surge as the combine goes on here. But I think he's available at pick 15 for the Saints. Pick 16 belongs to the St. Louis Rams. They have 2 picks in the first round. I think they look at these 2 picks to address the offensive line and a wide receiver. I think they take the offensive lineman first, and I'm going to go with Jonathan Cooper, the guard out of North Carolina. I think at this point, him and DJ Fluker are the best 2 guys available, but I think in the end, the Rams will solidify their guard position, which is a little weak, and take Cooper out of North Carolina. While Cooper is not a prospect at the level of Chance Warmack, he is a very good consolation prize if you're looking for an interior lineman. That kind of goes without saying. Cooper, Warmack, and David DeCastro last year are 3 of the most highly rated guards we've seen in a while. So look for the Rams to take Cooper with pick number 16. 17, the 17th pick belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, from an offensive standpoint, they used last year's draft to solidify the offensive line. They're steady at running back. They're steady at receiver. They're obviously steady at quarterback. Their defense is aging. I look for them to make some improvements on the defensive side of the ball in this draft. I look for them to go safety in the first round here at pick 17. Ryan Clark and Troy Polamalu have been a good tandem of safeties here for the Steelers for several seasons. But just quite frankly, they can't go with losing either one of those guys on defense for prolonged periods of time like they have for the last 2 seasons. So I think they look for the heir apparent to those 2 guys at safety. I think they take Matt Elam out of Florida. Elam's a guy I think his mentality, the way he plays, his physical nature, the fact that he's a very good ball player and a ball hawk, I think he fits well into the Dick LeBeau system. I think he's a natural pick at 17 for the Steelers, who I think are going to be looking safety. So look for Matt Elam, 17 to the Steelers. Pick 18, the Cowboys. If you've watched the Cowboys play in years past, I think undoubtedly the weakest part of their team is their offensive line. And I think you have a guy in Barrett Jones, who I think will be available at 18, that can fill pretty much any hole on the offensive line you have. He played 3 different positions for 3 different national championship teams at Alabama. Some minor injury concerns, which I think he'll clear up at the Combine and at his pro day. I like Barrett Jones, the versatile Barrett Jones, to go 18 to the Cowboys in this upcoming draft. With the 19th pick, this is the pick that the Giants own here in the first round. The Giants are an interesting team. They pick 19, but I don't see many glaring needs for the Giants. The 2 glaring needs I see are an offensive lineman to maybe cure the inconsistent running game they had a year ago, and also help in the secondary. I don't think there's anyone worth in the secondary taking in this spot, so I think the Giants will also go offensive line and take DJ Fluker, the tackle from Alabama. Fluker, I think, can be plugged in probably from day one on the offensive line, probably at right tackle for the Giants going forward. I think he'll solidify the running game even more. I don't think there's a pass rusher here, which the Giants like to maybe to replace OC maybe. I don't think there's a pass rusher here worth taking. I think they'll all be taken by the 19th pick. Jerry Reese has a habit of finding gems to rush the passer anyway. Maybe he can find one in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Who knows? But I think with this pick, they go with DJ Fluker, the tackle from Alabama, to solidify that offensive line. The 20, the Bears pick. The Bears are a team, again, I think they're going to miss out based on where they're picking. I think it's well chronicled. The Bears need offensive line help to keep Jay Cutler upright. That is not I'm not breaking any news by telling anyone that. I think, though, however, for round 1 at least, there won't be a guy worth taking here in the first round for them on the offensive line. I think they'll have to solve their offensive line woes through free agency more than the draft this year. I do think linebacker is a key spot for them. With an aging Urlacher, maybe get someone in there to be the heir apparent to him, and someone that can play as well alongside Urlacher, a guy that can maybe play inside and outside in that 4-3 scheme. And to fill that role, I like Kevin Minter, the linebacker from LSU. I think he could learn a lot from Urlacher. He could learn how to be a Chicago Bear. He's the same kind of player as Urlacher, a fast, speedy middle linebacker who can hit. So I like Kevin Minter from LSU to go 20th to the Bears. Those are my picks for picks 11 through 20, sort of how I see things shaping out in the draft here. Be sure to check out my picks for 1 through 10 and 21 through 32, which should be out here in a second. I have a link right to the picks 1 through 10 here, to my right here as I tape this video, so be sure to check those out. Subscribe to my channel here, guys. You get all of my videos uploaded directly to your feed here on YouTube. Let me know what you think of my predictions here. If I picked a guy for your favorite team, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Thanks as always for listening, and have a good day, guys.